Hi, I'm Lauren Steffen, and we're here at Pilates Seattle International, where we have Pilates exercise, physical therapy, and instructor training. We're about to talk about the wall with two different subjects who have different body mechanics issues. The wall is something that I teach almost every client who comes at every level, from beginners, intermediate, and advanced. I revisit it all the time because it's excellent for evaluating if there are good or poor body mechanics in both the lower, upper body and the center. And it's useful to review and teach over and over again, and even give people for homework when they're not able to get into the studio. So we're going to begin by walking out from the wall with your feet until you feel your back firmly into the wall. But you're going to keep your tailbone anchored, and you're going to lengthen your waist from your hip bones to your ribs. Float your head tall. Keep a nice long waist with easy shoulders. Now, you can see with Lauren, yes, she is also Lauren, her knees hyperextend. So we have to be sure that we soften the knees. The feet are in Pilates stance with a nice lift through the ankle, and press the inner thighs together. Press the sits bones towards each other without tucking the pelvis too far under. So the tailbone is anchored on the wall. And then we lengthen the waist, pull the navel towards the spine, keep a nice easy shoulders and neck. And for Steve, we're going to find that his legs, he's a stiffer guy, so we don't really have hyperextension of the legs like with Lauren, but he has some soccer injuries. He's a soccer player and coach. So we're just going to get him to squeeze his upper inner thighs and sits bones together, but still lengthen and pull the navel to the spine, stomach in and up, keep the chest wide, and float the head. Now, you guys won't see this from the side, but because Steve is a guy who has big muscles in his upper body, his head will actually be away from the wall, but his shoulder blades to his tailbone will be against the wall. Whereas Lauren, who's more petite in her upper body, will be able to actually get her head against the wall. If you have to give something up with a client, you would want to go for shoulder blades to tailbone and let the head come away from the wall. That's most often how a beginner will have to start, because they will be slouched over instead of opening the chest. So we're going to begin, guys, with just pulling the stomach in and up, keeping a nice long waist. We start with no weight, so we'll begin that way and possibly add weight if they do well. So we're going to go in with the air, lift the arms, exhale, press wide to open. And again, in with the air, up, and empty the lungs, press. And keeping your shoulders open, and exhale, and then reverse. Inhale, reach down to go side, and come through the middle. And inhale up, and exhale down the middle. And in with the air, lift the waist, and exhale, come down. And then peeling off the wall, you're going to start like your head is starting to peel towards your navel. Your upper back is rolling off the wall like a fruit roll-up, coming off the paper. Peeling over just to your waist, hollow your belly in, keep your knees soft, almost bent, and make little circles of the arms, keeping your belly scooped in, keeping your belly long, knees a little softer. And then reverse your circles. You almost should be circling like a Raggedy Ann doll. Very relaxed in the upper body, traction in the shoulders and the neck, relaxing, but really scooping in and pinning the lower back to the wall. Let your arms come to still, and then slowly peel each vertebra back on the wall like you're pressing little suction cups into the wall in each vertebra. A nice thing to do for your clients who've done this before is to give them a little stretch and keep the chest open. And then you both are going to turn out your heels in one smooth motion until you're parallel like double yellow lines on the highway. Walk out from the wall a little bit, This is very important, guys. When you're doing wall sits, you want to make sure that the person can always see the tips of their toes and that their leg is a right angle. Otherwise, it puts undue stress on the knees. So I'm going to have a look and see how they did. Steve's a little wide. You could come in a little bit with your feet, and you're looking pretty good. But again, don't over tuck the pelvis. You want to keep the tail anchored, but still hollow the abs in and up. Look straight forward and float your head like a helium balloon. And slowly, like you're going to sit in a chair, first only go 2 to 3 inches, sliding down the wall with your arms at your sides, looking straight out to an imaginary horizon. Pause, hold, 2, 3. I don't know if you could tell, guys, but Steve's knees rolled out when he slid down the wall. That tells me that he has an imbalance and is much stronger in his thighs, in his quad muscles, the big dominant muscle on the outside, than he is on the inside. So you want to correct and keep the knees lined up with the second toes and still keep the knees a right angle. Now you guys have stayed there long enough, and you're going to push the floor away, lifting through the waist to press back up. Now, because Steve's a strong guy, we're going to give him a little weight here. It's best to really teach all of this with no props, and then once your clients really gain some skill and better body mechanics, to then add the prop of a weight. So again, slide down the wall. This time you can take your arms up to shoulder height. Pull the belly in, keep your little bend between your knees. You need to actually put your tailbone more against the wall, don't tuck, and then use your stomach muscles to push the wall away as your legs push the floor away. Nice, and one more time, you're gonna come down, and this time, lift your arms high, just about before your ears. Drop your shoulders, Steve, a little bit, relax. Let your arms be wider, because you're a guy. And then come pushing the floor away with the backs of your legs and float up. Bring your heels together and walk your feet big steps back until you feel your heels against the wall. Lift super tall, floating your head. And then both just take one step away from the wall, floating out. Wonderful. So you can see how this has a plethora of things to see and correct on the body. Much of what we saw on both of them, Lauren's uneven hyperextended knees, her tendency to want to over tuck to get her abs turned on, overworks the front of the thighs. And Steve, you could see his roll out, soccer player, running, super strong. And for this, we really need to, you can correct this here, but to have spring resistance and a teacher one-on-one is super important. You can learn the principles on a video, you can learn the principles in a class, but you can't really affect true change without having the spring resistance that Joe Pilates invented, because the mat work and this type of work was too difficult for people to do. So please get some really good instruction and use spring resistance to really fix all the imbalances in the body, and you will have very happy, healthy clients.